When we think about adding protection to our car, there are many different options you can have and many different lifespans of these protection products. Number one, you've got waxes, you've got spray-on sealants, you've got ceramic detail sprays, you've got full-on ceramic coatings, but there is none easier to apply than a spray-on rinse-off sealant. Now today, we're gonna actually be checking out Koch-Chemie Wet Gloss. This is a brand new product from them that I am super excited to try because for many, many years, a staple in my detailing arsenal has been Geon WetCoat. Both of these products could not be simpler to use. After you've washed your vehicle while it's still wet, you spray these on the panel and immediately rinse it off with a pressure washer to add months of protection and great hydrophobics. Both of these products can be used as a standalone sealant or a ceramic coating topper, and today we're going to figure out which one of these is actually better. Welcome back to the channel. Let's jump into it. Well guys, thank you all for joining me here today. I am absolutely pumped to be checking out Koch-Chemie Wet Gloss over here. This is a category that you have seen become more and more prevalent as of recently. Honestly, I think just because of how easy it is to add months of protection, great hydrophobics, and the great thing is both of these products work on every single surface of your exterior, including your paint, your glass, your wheels, your plastic trim, all those intricate little nooks and crannies as well. These things are flippin' awesome to use, and I've been using Geon WetCoat for many, many years. And I keep coming back to this one just because of how great it is. In fact, my wife's Kia EV9 that's sitting next to me here, which we're gonna be demoing on today, that car has only ever had Geon WetCoat on it. We got this car 2 years ago. I never polished it, never coated it. All we have ever done is Geon WetCoat applications throughout the months, and it's been honestly pretty darn awesome. Now, like I said, you can use these as standalone sealants like I've been using on my EV9, or you can use these as ceramic coating toppers. Now, the reason I love using spray-on rinse-off sealants is instead of using a spray onto a towel sealant, mist onto a panel, wipe it off, and then buff it, number one, you're not touching the panel as much, and I'm a big believer in the least amount you can touch your vehicle's paint, the better. Every single time you're touching it, you are risking adding some swirl marks, some love marks, some little marring here and there. And after you spend a ton of time going through polishing your vehicle, making sure it's perfect, the last thing you want to do is add more scratches to it. So that's why hand applying sealants all the time, I am not a big fan of. So before we dive into actually applying these and checking out the hydrophobics, I first want to go through price point, claim durability, and then the amount of products each of these manufacturers says you're supposed to use. Shockingly, one of them says you're supposed to use almost triple the amount than the other one per car, which seems kind of insane. So starting over here with Koch-Chemie Wet Gloss, retails $19.99 for a 500 milliliter bottle. In a 5-liter size, always more economical to do so, $109.99, so that comes out to $21.99 per liter. WetCoat over here, $20.99 for 500 milliliters, $32.99 for 1,000 milliliters, $89.99 for this big 4-liter size here, coming out to $22.49. So slightly more expensive on the Geon WetCoat here, but relatively similar. I know for a lot of you, you have said that Geon WetCoat is too expensive. I personally disagree. I think it's a great value for money. Now, the interesting thing here is how much product each one of these claims are supposed to use. Over here, Geon says about 80 milliliters per car. Obviously, that's going to change if you're working on a sedan, a 3-row SUV, a truck. You're going to use more product on the bigger cars than on the smaller cars. Now, the crazy thing over here, on the back of the bottle, I look at this, it says you should use 250 milliliters per car on wet gloss, which seems absurd. That seems like way too much. The other weird thing here is when applying this, it says just 1 to 2 sprays per panel. So how are you going through 250 milliliter? Are they talking about a limo here? I mean, that seems like a lot. Now, typically when I use these, I like to get a good even layer on the panel. Now, typically, yes, you can do 1 or 2 sprays and then the water actually disperses it and kind of levels it out. But I like to do a little bit heavier application when applying it. I feel like it works a little bit better from my experience of testing. Now, I'm not sure if wet gloss is the same, but pretty interesting. The other interesting thing here is the claim durability. Now, Koch-Chemie, I went on their website and was kind of underwhelmed by this. They said 4 to 6 weeks, which seems absurdly low. So you're using a ton of product and it doesn't last that long. That doesn't seem like a good starter point. The weird thing is where I actually purchased this product, I went back on the website there to see if that also says the same, and it doesn't. It says up to 12 weeks of durability. Interesting. Now, Geon over here, 12 weeks or up to 3 months of durability. I'll tell you, very different in summertime versus wintertime, how these are going to last, of course. And the one cool thing I do like that Geon gives you here is a pH tolerance of this product. So between a 2 and 11, this can tolerate. Outside of that, you're going to start degrading it or potentially just nuking it in general. Koch-Chemie doesn't give you any of that. The other interesting thing here is they do give you a contact angle on Geon WetCoat, which is 90 degrees. So not quite as much as a full strength ceramic coating. So you're not going to have as much of that self-cleaning characteristics or the dispersion of water, but I'm glad they give you a little bit more insight into the product. So now that we understand that, we're going to head over to the car. Now, quick note on what I've actually done to this car. So I polished down all of the doors on this vehicle. Since this car has had Geon WetCoat on pretty much everything, I don't want to do the entire car and try and split the car half and half. So we're just going to do the doors. I want to make sure nothing is remaining on there, any remaining of that wet coat, so that we can take wet gloss, put it on one side of the vehicle, put wet coat on the other side of the vehicle, and then compare them. So I will update you guys with a video coming up in probably a month, 2 months, and 3 months to see how these last, and again, hopefully see if Koch-Chemie Wet Gloss can actually replace my Geon WetCoat. All right guys, so on the driver's side here, we have Geon WetCoat. Now I've got it in my paint sealant bottle and the press-alls here, but I polished the doors here. I'll show you the flatness on there, then we can get into applying this. So we'll do these two doors with WetCoat, on the other side Koch-Chemie Wet Gloss. All right, so as you guys can see now, the door is wet, very, very flat. Just went through, polished all of this, so it's taking a long time to sheet. Now again, this is very, very simple to install. Probably want a little bit more water on here, just like that. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm just gonna mist this. This is my typical application amount there. Now, you wanna immediately rinse this off. Now, traditionally when I use this, what I'll actually do is spray one time down, check the hydrophobics, and then I'll come back in and actually second mist it. That just helps it a little bit to get a little bit more spread out, get a nice good layer on there. Look at that door now, really, really nice hydrophobics. So I'll finish up this door, we'll head over, do Koch-Chemie Wet Gloss and compare the hydrophobics. All right guys, so wet gloss time over here. So again, just want to show you the panel. Nice and flat throughout. So before this dries, I'm just gonna give it 3 big mists there. Now again, I applied more Geon over there. I want to see what this looks like because I haven't played with this yet. Yeah, so I would really recommend going in a little bit stronger here. So I want to get good even coverage. Always love Koch-Chemie sprayers, by the way. They're absolutely incredible. I also just realized I didn't let this sit for 30 seconds. It's just creature of habit for wet coat. So I'll let this version sit. We've also got the rear end to do as well. All right, so that's sat for 30 seconds. So it's really interesting as you rinse that off, you started seeing it sheeting and then the beading and the beading. So that's getting it moved around, really locked in, really cool, unique product. It smells very nice as well. Man. Honestly, guys, I think the hydrophobics might actually beat out Geon. Interesting. Let's go to the back door here. All right, so you can see the water there, very much flooded on the panel. So what I'm gonna do is come in here. We're gonna get a nice even layer. Now I'm gonna let it sit. I need to remember not to rinse this right away like Geon WetCoat. I'm always so like, okay, let's go, let's go. So this one definitely takes a few seconds to sit there. Nice thing with this is like you can go down the side of the car, do that, and then come back to this door, rinse it in this section. So I'm really impressed with the hydrophobics, guys. I mean, really, really impressed with it. All right, guys, our 30 seconds has elapsed. So you see pretty flat, and then it starts really coming in. Wow, cool. So what I feel like with this is there is a little bit more rinsing involved with Geon. Again, I personally, on a panel like this that is completely flat, most of your car's paint, especially, you know, if you have a ceramic coating or topping it, not going to be like this. I would always do a second layer. This to me is just kind of, hey, a little extra boost. We're not going crazy, you know, 4 or 5 sprays across the door there. We'll let this sit. That is always the way I've used Gyeon WetCoat and any of these other spray and rinse type sealants. You guys may prefer to just do it singularly. I think it gets a better layer on it, especially now that you have a little layer on there, can kind of get locked in. So that's good to see. All right, in 30 seconds. So again, you can see it gets flat, and then look at the hydrophobics come in. Wow. I am really blown away with the hydrophobics here, guys. I personally definitely think it beats out Gyeon WetCoat in terms of overall hydrophobics here. Now, do understand too, I'm using an AR 635, so 3 gallons per minute of water. Like this is... that's a ton of water, and you don't see it kind of gathering in areas. Now, I want to go back over to the Geon side, and I'll show you these side by side on camera. Yeah, okay, so my feelings on this, pretty darn clear. I think Wet Gloss from Koch-Chemie definitely has a leg up here. You can see on this panel, it still beads up nicely, but there are areas where it just holds on to water. Now, this being a huge high flow pressure washer, going to make that even worse. But definitely side by side looking at this, I would absolutely give Koch-Chemie the win in terms of hydrophobic so far. So last thing I want to do here, I want to grab a drying towel, and I just want to feel how the panel is in terms of slickness. Subjective feedback here, of course. Be interesting. All right, I've got my tried and true Rag Company liquidator here. I'm not gonna add any drying aid to this. And I gotta say, guys, that feels amazingly slick. Really, really like that on Gyeon WetCoat. Let's flip this towel over, head over to the other side. Fresh side on this towel. Ooh. Okay, what's interesting is it feels very different. This almost has like a fresh waxed feel to it. I can really feel it on there. I wouldn't say it's quite, I don't know, man, we're splitting hairs here. The finish to me feels very, very nice, really nice. I wouldn't say like, you know, crazy difference in terms of just rag feel on the panel, but definitely some small nuanced differences here for sure. You know, overall slickness, I might give to Geon here, but I really like the feel on this. It feels very, very nice. All right, folks, let's wrap this video up with some final thoughts. And I think, as you guys can clearly see by now, my initial impressions here with Koch-Chemie Wet Gloss, very, very impressed with it. The hydrophobics, honestly, you could probably put this next to a full strength ceramic coating just after application, and you'd be like, which one is the full strength coating? Like, it is that impressive. And I personally think a big step up even from Gyeon WetCoat, which I absolutely love. Now, of course, one of the things on here that most kind of spray on sealants and, you know, ceramic detail sprays, they're going to claim that they're going to boost the gloss. Now, personally, it's very imperceptible. Maybe if you have a car that's quite dull, yes, you can add this. It'll give it a little pop. On a panel that has just been freshly polished, you're not really going to see anything. Looking with my naked eye, don't see any sort of difference. The real way to have glossy paint is to have it completely scratch-free, decontaminated, perfectly polished out. That's how you actually get glossy paint, not just throwing a bunch of chemicals at it. So that's not a knock on this product, it's a knock on the marketing terminology in the detailing industry, which drives me nuts sometimes. But again, initial feelings here, really impressed. Now, my only concern with this product, before I just completely throw Geon in the trash, even though I'm gonna use the rest of this gallon, and switch to it, is what is the longevity like? So, like I told you guys, I'm gonna be showing you over the next couple of months how these compare to each other. We're gonna go on a 4,000 mile road trip with this car. Definitely probably gonna see some rain. We're probably gonna see quite a bit of dirt and grime on this car, so I'll update you when I'm back from that trip, and then update you on how these last. And if it's the case of the Wet Gloss lasts longer than Wet Coat, okay, then I'm probably going to switch to it. You get a little bit of a benefit of spending a little bit less money. No, it's not crazy money, of course, but it is always nice to save a couple of bucks there. And again, I've been impressed with many Koch-Chemie products in the past. Geon WetCoat, I still have to say, such a great product, but this might just be the next evolution. Last thing I want to mention here on the feel on the panel. Now, I do overall think WetCoat is slicker. I actually prefer the feel though of the wet gloss over here. Like I said, it almost has this fresh waxed feel to it. You can feel it on there. It feels really nice instead of just boom, 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 like super slick. I'm not like, you have to have the slickest thing ever. I really like this, and just looking at the hydrophobics really darn impresses me here. So I would definitely recommend you guys try this. Let me know what you guys think. If you've already tried this product, let me know how it's been going for you. And I can't wait to use this on more cars and see how it lasts. And especially in the winter time, maybe we'll strip this entire thing and put just the wet gloss on here and see how it holds up, because I've had experience through the winters already. So that's it. That's the video. Really impressed with it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.